Welcome back. Around here on the football circuit as bowl games start to get laid into place, as well as the Terps playing basketball here at the Royal Farms Arena this week. And, of course, the Ravens headed out to Kansas City, but all eyes of the baseball world and Mike Elias as well as Sig Mejdal headed out to Las Vegas for the baseball winter meetings. Not sure how much or how little is going to happen. At some point, the Orioles will name a manager. Bob Nightengale will be there. Bobby on the spot. He is B. Nightengale at USA Today and very involved in all the Machado and the Harpers and the histrionics and all of this. Bob, we're just trying to get off 115 losses here in Baltimore and figure out if there's a fresh start to be had.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to take some time, but, two guys went through it with Houston. So why can't they do it also in Baltimore? Obviously, they get experience on it. So, yeah, there'll be, two hires, and I think Elias could have gone to San Francisco Giants as well. So he chose the Orioles over the West Coast.
Yeah, is that a curious thing in your mind that guys, look, you've been at this a long time. You and I have been at this. You're one of my defending champions around here. The Angelos family's always had a hard time attracting the top-notch talent on the field, off the field, in many ways since Pat Gillick. I know Andy McPhail came in, and I said deodorize the place, and lots of people turned the gig down before Showalter got to it, and lots of people turned down the opportunity to even meet with the family before they went out to the Cape Cod League to find Dan Duquette the last time around. For them to be able to swim at the front of class and be able to hire geniuses, that's a pretty good indication of the promises that they've made these guys. Now, whether they're going to make good on all that and stay out of the way, it's probably only as good as Brady Anderson's word is at this point, right?
Yeah, I mean, they get two guys like that. Like I said, I know the Giants wanted Elias badly. And, like I said, I mean, he was the heart, right there in the brain trust with him and Jeff Lou now as far as turning a franchise that was losing 106, 107 games a season into a World Series champions and one of the best organizations in baseball. So certainly, both of them together should be a great 1-2 punch.
Bob, what do you expect the Orioles to do on the manager side here? And obviously everything will be, and I've read Astro Ball. Ben Reiter did a nice job on that. I've recommended that they're not going to be building around Chris Davis and Mark Trumbo around here, from what I can tell, from what they've done in the past and what Jeff Luhnow did. If that is the real roadmap that Elias is going to use, this will be a nuclear kind of project here, and I wouldn't expect much to be lingering around that can be dealt away for a high A prospect that, Sig's machine, I guess they'll call it Agent Orange, I don't know what they'll call it, but, will pop out on younger players, because the future here is 2022 and 23, not 2019.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even with value, they'll trade. I don't think anybody's safe. If Chris Davis somehow took off in spring training, had a great start, they would try desperately to move him. So, and that's what Houston did. They just traded away every piece they had with some value. And no reason not to do it there in Baltimore. It's going to take years to be back. And, Seattle's going through it now, too. Detroit's going through it. Chicago White Sox. So you almost about half as many teams trying to go for this thing that actually, trying to go for this thing and actually then rebuild. And Baltimore's one of the rebuilding teams.
Well, we've already started to see this earlier in the week with the Phillies and the Mariners, and the Phillies apparently lining up for Machado, but maybe not now, and Bryce Harper. This is going to be kind of a loud winter meeting this week, right? With all the silence of last year and all the hubbub of these generational players on the marketplace that have waited and fought to get to the marketplace. What's happening in the marketplace right now, Bob?
Well, you have very few teams are involved in those guys just because it's such a high price tag.
Sure.
And and so you have the Phillies, you have the Nationals, the White Sox, and that's about it. And the Yankees for Machado, but not for Harper. So just very few teams involved. Who's got $300 million to throw around like that? So I still think Harper ends up with the Phillies, and that Machado ends up with the Yankees.
Machado to the Yankees and Johnny Hustle and all of the stuff that was said and done and losing the World Series. It's at some point you would think that it would damage at least the perception of his value a little bit. What's the numbers that you're hearing now, Bob? Like what's going to pop out of this when it's all said and done for Harper and Machado? And will their deals be too dissimilar?
Well, it's very possible the Yankees say, you know what, we were bothered by it a little bit. Prove yourself. What if we give you a 5-year contract for $200 million? So you get more annual average value, salary, than Harper, but not the years. Or Harper still gets his, 10, 11, 12-year contract from the Phillies for close to $400 million, something like that. So it wouldn't surprise me at all to see Harper get more money overall, Machado on an annual average salary basis.
Well, it's fascinating that New York has never needed to discount anything to get anybody to come there, right? But it is interesting that in the modern era, if Machado wants to win and win regularly, the money and the years and the long term would not be as important as winning. But we always see that, the Yankees are willing to pay top dollar. And Machado's agents will be willing to fetch that, I'm sure, as well. That this isn't as much about money as it is about years and as much about where you really want to be and where they want you. Because, to your point, there aren't a dozen teams out there that want these players in that way.
No, everyone wants to play for a winner. Machado's case, he grew up a Yankee fan. Diehard, Yankee fan out of Miami. A-Rod was his mentor. So that's clearly been his number one pick. Well, I think Harper's been wide open to anything. Doesn't matter whether it's, the Dodgers, the Cardinals, whoever. So what can be interesting with Harper and Phillies, would he be a little gun-shy about going to Philadelphia in the sense where you're playing the Nationals 18 times? I remember when Pablo Sandoval got offered more money from the Padres, but he just kind of feared going back to San Francisco and having people boo and things like that. I don't think it would affect Harper, but it might play some kind of factor.
Bob Nightengale is here. He is B. Nightengale out on Twitter as well as at USA Today. He will be in Las Vegas doing all things winter meetings. The minute that the Orioles sign a manager, you'll get it first on the WNST Tech Service. That's all brought to you by our friends at Coons Ford off Security Boulevard. Dennis will be here on Thursday from 3 until 5, dropping you off at home and at work and getting you ready for all the play in Kansas City this week. All of our WNST coverage brought to you by LifeBridge Health Sports Medicine Institute. Dr. Kevin Crutchfield will be here this week talking head-related injuries and concussion. In a week, we saw Lamar Jackson go into the little booth as well over the weekend. You can find them out in Owings Mills at Foundry Row. You've seen Cal Ripken up on the billboards. Find them there, a world-class facility and state-of-the-art care right where you are. It is LifeBridge Health Sports Medicine Institute. Bob Nightengale is here, and we're talking a little bit about managers and what to expect in a manager. Meanwhile, the Dodgers give Dave Roberts a 4-year extension, and the era of big money managers kind of over after the Scioscia and the Joe Madden era from what we can tell, right? Like Girardi hanging on, other people hanging on, but not many teams are going to be paying managers millions and millions, and they've sort of managed the game differently in the Moneyball era, correct?
Yeah, no, absolutely. A lot of these guys are just they do whatever the front office wants, and guys are making $800,000, $900,000. Here's a guy like Alex Cora. He's going to make $900,000 next year. Last year, he was the lowest paid manager in baseball. So when the Orioles sign someone, it's going to be a cheap signing. It's going to be someone's going to make less than $1 million, and probably someone, a young manager, an experienced manager who can kind of grow with the team.
Joe Espada has been the name that was thrown around the most, and I know he had been involved with these guys. What do you know about Joe Espada, Bob?
Well, he's very well thought of, and he was interviewing for a couple jobs, I know, including Toronto for sure. So, got a very good reputation. I think Boston wanted to hire him as the bench coach this past year before Houston said, no, it's not a promotion, so he's staying put. So, yeah, very well thought of. And obviously the Astros guys know him very well, better than the other candidates, so he's got to be a candidate.
Bob, always a pleasure to talk some baseball with you, man. Been following you all year long here on our death trap to 115 losses and trying to pick the organization up and turn it back around. It's going to be a long process, and I know you're not going to be getting to town to be watching a pennant race baseball anytime soon. I do appreciate you always taking our call and coming on talking ball with us.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure.
You got it.
Talk to you again soon.
You got it, Bob Nightengale. There he goes. USA Today. You'll be following him all weekend long, as well as following all the drama around Harper and Machado and the Orioles' search for a manager and what becomes of a lot of veteran players the Orioles still have around under Mike Elias and Sig Mejdal. And I'm sure there'll be more press conferences and Oriole winter carnivals ahead. Meantime, the Ravens will go out to Kansas City this week and try to do the Chiefs dirty. We'll be following all of that. Luke is out on the backfields in Owings Mills. All of our WNST coverage brought to you by our friends at Sporticulture. Got to get some fresh flowers around here because they smell so fantastic. They can be shipped anywhere in the country, one click away. Go to sporticulture.com. Officially licensed NFL as well as collegiate flowers. Ship them around for bowl season as well. Our friends at the Mejdal Lyric had a good show there over the weekend with the Beach Boys and the Christmas event. They've moved the Kansas show now to March 1st, which gives me a chance to see it, as well as John Mellencamp on February 20th. They got the Dancing with the Stars troupe coming in on January the 10th. Jim Gaffigan bringing the comedy in on February 8th. There is always magic at the Mejdal Lyric. Learn more at Mejdal-Lyric.com. You can find me out in the buyatoyota.com audio vault 24 hours a day from anywhere in the world on your mobile device by downloading the TuneIn radio app. We come in crystal clear from anywhere in the world. Podcasts, listen to what you want, when you want, where you want. Some Terp stuff earlier this week as they play for the soccer championship this week out there in Irvine, California. We got bowl games coming up, Thursday night football, Steelers losing, all in the buyatoyota.com audio vault. Morning newspaper ships digitally to your email inbox each and every morning at 7 a.m. It's all brought to you by Planet Fitness and PlanetFitness.com. I ran into Lynn and Victor Brick in the airport in Atlanta. We had a mimosa together. It was a lovely thing. Victory Mimosas after 3 wins in a row, and Planet Fitness has been with us for a decade now. We appreciate their sponsorship and their support. $5 down, $10 a month. Get some inspiration for the holidays and for 2019 at planetoftriumphs.com. Also, the Maryland Jockey Club and our friends at Laurel Park putting the entries in the morning newspaper as well as at the front of WNST.net. Get on down into the heated, beautiful new sports bar down at Laurel Park. If you haven't been down there lately, you haven't been at all, go watch the ponies run and support our friends at Laurel Park. You can find me all day, all night. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Instagram, streaming live on our Facebook as well as our YouTube WNSTV channel. I am Nestor. We are WNST.net, AM 1570, and WNST Towson, Baltimore, and we never stop talking Baltimore sports.